for people who aren't on the road a lot, maybe you can't understand it, but there is some part of you that's never, you're never home long enough to fully be home. So you always kind of have one foot in and out because you're like, well, I'm going to be gone in 2 weeks, or I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're home, but you're not like fully absorbed into the rhythm of this life that exists.
That's right.
And is always going on. And so, yeah, you could take a month off, you could take 2 months off, you could take a year off, and you think, but because that escape valve or that process is still there. So like, I think I was looking at it, like my family stayed, we went some places, like we drove places during COVID, but we stayed together for like 500 consecutive nights or something. And I'll never probably do that again in my life.
Right.
But the rhythm of that much time, it changes you because it's so different than your normal rhythm of like, well, I'm looking at a calendar in 3 weeks, I got to go on the road. So you got to start packing, you got to start thinking, you got to start preparing.
Totally. It's like for me, it's whether or not I put the suitcase away.
Yes.
And if it's away, I feel like I'm actually settling in.
Yeah.
And ironically, I'm like rarely doing that. Whereas like my wife, the instant she gets home, the suitcase is like unpacked, everything's unfolded, like hung up and all that. And it's like a mental construct that I have now of like, I'm just used to going out, And so it's just something I think when I get home, I'm almost not like believing that I can actually settle back in.
Yes.
And actually when I go home later today, it's the first time I actually have more than 2 weeks at home since May.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm really excited and ready, but you also like, I'm already thinking about the next one.
Totally.
Like what do I need to do while I'm home? What's the honeydew
You're
list?
catching up, or you're storing up for the next time. And so there is this, it's almost like being in this kind of heightened like fight or flight thing.
Yep.
Like,
that's a good way to put it. I never thought of it like that.
If you listen to Bob Seger's song "Turn the Page," there's a Metallica cover also that's very good.
I think I've heard the Metallica cover. To be honest.
But it's about like a guy on the road. Like it's about a musician on the road, and you could just there's just kind of this like alienation, one step removed from the plane that everyone else is operating on, and you just get into that place.
Yeah, I love it. I love what we get to do. But yeah, it would be nice to feel like I was actually gonna stay home, be home, and like not have a thing where I was like bouncing out again. But that's also like it makes you. When you have those moments, it makes you really like hold on to them and love them. Like, I'm going to get home tonight before hopefully my kid comes home from his afternoon activities and I can already like feel the joy that of him like running through the front door, and all that. So, I mean, it's all like part of what I get to do, and I'm happy about it. It's just, it's definitely like, a trickier living in the now than when you get that 500-day routine.
Yeah. Well, and when it goes away and you do slot into that rhythm, you realize how unnatural the normal one is and how the toll it's taking on you, like the mental health toll of sleeping in different beds, the fake conversations, I
try not to have those. I'm like a no fluff kind of guy.
But like I'm so bad at like, you go to the venue or the place or whatever, and then they're like, "Hi, I'm so and so," and you're like, you want to connect with this person, but you also are never going to connect with them ever again.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I met you 3 days ago in a different city doing a different thing.
Yeah.
And so there's like they're not aware of the falsity that you're feeling, but you're carrying it. And so there's just kind of a psychic baggage. That is not healthy.
I think that can be there, and that has been there for me in my lifetime. This weekend, I watched something happen that was like the opposite of that. That made me realize some of these connections and moments can actually come back years later. We do a lot of work with Chef Robert Irvine, who does things for veterans, and he brought his Breaking Bread with Heroes program to Ocean's Calling Festival to say thank you to the first responders. And we were watching, it might have been the Beach Boys concerts, either the Beach Boys or after them, the Killers played.
Wow.
Such a great show. Like that,
incredible,
it was,
man.
It was awesome. They had pyro and everything. It was like top notch. So anyway, this person comes up to the sort of artist bar that was on the side of the, the grounds. And I mean, we were fortunate. There was like 50,000 plus people at this festival. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And, this guy comes up, he's like, chef, please come here. And we're up on a thing watching the stage, and the grounds of the beach are down there. Like people are actually on the beach in Ocean City, Maryland. And this guy has a picture of him or of his daughter and Chef. Okay. And Chef was like noticeably younger. And he's like, hey, you took this picture with, my daughter like 12, 14 years ago, and I wanted to say thank you because she still talks about it. And it was a moment, and he remembered the person and like where they took it and all that stuff. And so I've kind of been processing that. I also had on the podcast first season, I talked to Flavor Flav, and he was like, he said, you never know like how deep those connections are going to be, even if it's 5 seconds. And he actually put it in the opposite, where is like, if you're not your best self and really like try to connect with the people, they might be like, F you, I've waited my whole life for this moment, and it might not mean anything to you, but I'm going to remember this forever. So he impressed upon me to really take that to heart, that every little thing should, even if you're not like thinking you'll be able to remember it, to like really grasp it and wholeheartedly appreciate that you get to say hello and thank you to somebody or whatever it is.